All right. Miss Shive asked the bond.
As to bond, Your Honor, we understand the charges and their seriousness. But he is presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, as always. He's 18 years old and he has absolutely no prior criminal history to our knowledge. He's not on probation or parole or nothing pending. He's a lifelong resident of Detroit. He lives with his mother. He has strong family ties and community ties and support. On the day of his arraignment, on July 17th, his aunt was present in the courtroom in courtroom 134, and his mother was on YouTube watching live, and I spoke to both of them. They have been calling me ever since. They're very concerned about his mental illness because he turned himself in on the same day this alleged incident happened. The same day, immediately, he turned himself in. And it's my understanding that, nothing had been signed. Nobody told him to turn himself in. No police or anybody, asked him to do so or was asking about. He went and turned himself in because he maintains his innocence. He believed he was doing the right thing. He said, I'm going to go in. I'm going to take care of this matter. And I'm going to, I don't want to think anything about this case. So he went in right away. And, I don't know how many 18-year-olds go and turn themselves in right away the same day, not even the next day, without anybody even asking them to, he believes in the system. He wants to maintain his innocence. He went in. He has evidence on his phone to help prove his innocence, Your Honor. So he has that evidence. I know that we're here for redetermination hearings, so this is not the time and place that we would be getting all that. He will have his day in court. But he does have the strong family ties that he needs, and he's not at flight risk or capious history because he didn't even wait till the next day. He didn't run. He didn't say, I'm scared of these very strong allegations that might come about or anything. He went in to take care of this matter, and it's not something we see often, although, it is the right thing to do. Now, in the report, I didn't see any witnesses, and I believe that the detectives and officers were having a hard time getting any footage because it says in the report on like the last couple sentences that they went around on the 15th in the neighborhood asking a couple neighbors and houses for cameras or any footage, and nobody seemed to have that or have access to the camera footage. And also some people didn't answer the door. Some people observed that they did not observe the incident. So I don't know how far they're going to be able to, get without footage or witnesses or what, but he knows that he has this pending case. He knows that he will have his day in court. These are the allegations that he's facing. Again, we know their seriousness, Your Honor, but I believe he's taking all the right steps to take care of this matter. Our concern is that he does suffer from mental illness, that his family has asked me several times if they can get the medication to him. I tried to assist him. I tried to tell him to go down to the jail to see. I just asked him when we were in a breakout room if he's received any of the medication he needs, either through the jail or through his parent, his family bringing it to him. And he said they've been telling him he just has to wait. So he doesn't have access to that. But there's no flight risk here. So if the court is not inclined to release him without a, house arrest, GPS tether, then we understand. He was supposed to start work at Detroit Winco the day before he turned himself in. He's 18, high school grad, no priors, doing everything right, Your Honor, on so far, and again, turned himself in immediately. So we would ask that he'd only be released to his family who supports him, who he lives with, who's waiting for him, who's ready to do whatever they need to do to make sure that he gets to fight this case. And we're hoping that he gets to fight this case from the outside and not the inside, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Douglas, before you start, I've got somebody in the courtroom. Ma'am, can you come up? Come all the way up to the table right here.
I'm assistant.
All right, real loud, can you tell me your name?
Ashley Brown.
Ms. Brown, you've indicated that you're the defendant's sister?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Shive or Ms. Douglas, is there anything that you wanted to ask Ms. Brown before I allow the people to make their argument?
Like, I would ask if he had an involuntary hospitalization recently.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Shive?
I'm not aware. I know families there that would know more about
Yeah,
that.
this is Miss Brown, who is the sister of the defendant, is in the courtroom. I just wanted to see if you wanted to ask any questions of her
Yes.
as far as, yeah.
Yes. Ma'am, are you are you the one I spoke to on the phone?
Yes.
Okay. So they have been calling me, and ma'am, were you able to get him his medication?
So we talked to the social worker, and his psychologist. They told us that the jail would have to send a request over to them. And as far as we know, nobody has sent a request for him to get food stabilizers. And he's on medication for impulsive behaviors. Nobody sent anything over. We've been checking, and he hasn't received any. They haven't received anything for him to get his medication.
So, Judge, excuse me, I'm having a hard time hearing Miss Brown.
So we talked to his therapist, his social worker. They said the jail would have to send a request for him to get his medications, but they haven't sent that request over to them. So they said we can't just drop it off. That's how it goes, so they know what he's taking, and nobody has done that yet.
Okay.
He was just in a crisis center right before the 4th of July. So.
Ms. Brown, I'm going to ask you some more questions after I hear from Ms. Douglas.
Okay.
You can just have a seat right there.
Your Honor, I'm asking that this bond stay the same. I actually think it's low given the allegations. This is assault with intent to murder. And it sounds like Mr. McGee had an involuntary hospitalization. It does sound like his family is involved, and it sounds like he had medication. And if this happened when he has medication and his family is involved, then we don't think that that's sufficient to prevent something like this from happening again. Now, we have somebody who has multiple stab wounds, Your Honor, and had to be taken to the hospital. Officers had to put a tourniquet on her to keep her from bleeding out. And so this is a very serious situation where an individual even had stab wounds to her head, Your Honor. So we don't think that a personal bond with tether house arrest is appropriate. We don't have a reason to think that Mr. McGee would stay at home if he can't control his impulses. And so, Your Honor, while I'm not going to argue that he doesn't need treatment, I'm going to argue that there's nothing in place for him to be in the public and for the public to be safe, given that he allegedly stabbed someone multiple times, including in the head, to the point where someone was at risk of bleeding out. So, Your Honor, I'm going to ask for this bond to not be lowered. I'm going to ask for it to, at the very least, stay the same. I think it's actually low, given what the accusations are.
Ms. Shive, do you have anything further?
And I do, if I can ask a question. Miss, you said Brown?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Brown, if he was to get released, he would be staying with who and where and under whose supervision?
My mom.
Okay.
With the medication, so he was prescribed a new medication after he was in the crisis center. He never got a chance. He literally had just got the medication right before this incident happened. So he never got a chance to start his new regimen of medication.
And
all right,
if I could say one more thing, Your Honor, I'm sorry. Not for Miss Brown, for the court.
yes, Ms. Shive.
We understand that in the report, there's a complaining witness who is injured, but it does not mean that it was my client. We still don't know what happened. He is presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and he maintains his innocence, and he's got the strong family ties again, and he turned himself in immediately. So if the court would be comfortable releasing him to his house only, house arrest, does not need to leave, can't leave for any reason unless there's something medical, emergency, or however the court would like to handle it. The family is there, to show the court that he would be under their supervision. And, mental illness, whatever's going on with him, to our knowledge, he's never had an incident. And, people's mental illness should not be used against them. It doesn't automatically mean that you are a criminal or that you may or may not done something or that you are a danger to the community, Your Honor. I think that is important. This is something that he's deals with, that he takes medication for, and we just heard that, you know, he's not even getting the proper medication now. But whatever the case may be, he's still presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and he has no record at all, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is where I'm at. And, you know, a part of this, I have to juggle a lot of different concepts right now. I'll start with the alleged assault. And these are highly volatile allegations on their face. Someone is stabbed multiple times with a pair of scissors. That person received medical treatment, seen by a doctor. I also have a person who is being alleged to commit these incidents with some recent mental health treatment, including a very recent stint at an inpatient facility, with the understanding that there was a different diagnosis and some medications have changed in the interim that maybe have not taken effect as of now. I also have an assault that allegedly took place at the defendant's house, if I'm not mistaken. So this is where I'm at. Understanding the charges, understanding the information that I have before me, I do believe that this is a highly dangerous situation, and a highly, you know, this created an environment that was not only dangerous for the community, but particularly this complaining witness. Understanding that the defendant is maybe taking new medication. I don't know if it has anything to do with this incident, but it does seem to me that, you know, there is something going on. There's something going on in the immediate. And for that reason, that bond is going to remain the same right now. I am going to mark the file medical. Ms. Brown, I work with you to do anything I can to get that medication to your son. He's going to have a hearing next week where if things change, if the situation changes or something else is in place, his attorney is going to have the argument and it's going to have a chance to address bond at that hearing. But right now, with everything that I have before me, bond has to remain the same. This is a dangerous situation, and I don't believe that anything outside of confinement is going to keep the community safe. So bond remains the same. Mr. McGee, sir, your next date is going to be June 24th, 2024, before Judge King. June 24th, July 24th, excuse me. All right, that concludes this hearing. Hold tight.